Good morning and welcome to our Sage 100 Performance Improvement webinar series. Thank you for joining us today. A few housekeeping items. This webinar is going to be recorded and we will be sending it out to everybody who registered after it's been completed. Throughout this presentation, if you have any questions or want to chat with us, please feel free to use the Q&A or chat features at the bottom of the screen. We'll go ahead and get started. Maybe. Today, your presenters are Kate Kruger and Michelle Frizzy. Our topic today is best practices when using Paperless Office. So we're going to cover some items including setting up file locations, print versus preview, electronic delivery, and security options. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Kate.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us today. Another Tuesday in quarantine, or as we call it around here, it's the Blur's Day, the umpteenth of Never-Nary. At least that's what it feels like. So today we wanted to go over Paperless Office. So what does that mean? Paperless Office is the idea of, instead of printing everything out, because as you may have noticed, Sage is no friend to trees or toner. If you have to print something out, it kind of resembles a really large book. So the idea with Paperless Office is that you can submit it to a PDF, keep it digitally, which means that you can email it, and that you can also store it on your server so it's backed up with your database and you can always find it. So that's what Paperless Office means. Creating PDFs and then electronically delivering said PDFs wherever you want them to go. So let's take a look at how to set it up. Paperless Office is his own little module, and he's got, just like the other modules, a main, a utilities, and a setup. So if we open the setup and take a look at the Paperless Office options, you can see here, this is just telling Sage what we want to maybe consider PDFing. Just because this box is checked, it doesn't mean it'll automatically create that PDF. There's a couple more setups that we got to complete in order to do that. But this just says, I want the option to electronically deliver and PDF forms, reports, journals and registers, and then the period end reports. The load data on initial viewer access, that guy, you will take a look at the viewers later, and it's just saying it's going to try and load you some data when you first open it. And then our option to keep only the last PDF. So think about like your journals. If you run an invoice register and you see something that's wrong and you want to change it and you print it again, do you want it to keep both copies? Do you want to keep only that last copy that actually gets updated? That's up to you. So if we take a look at the journal and register maintenance, you can see I've created one here that is just all companies, all modules, but notice that you can create specific rules for every module. And let me show you something here. You can actually even get more specific and create a specific rule and process for a specific one document. So if I want the commission edit register, maybe that's more sensitive, it needs to go a different location, it needs to be password protected. All of that can be set up here. I'm going to stick with my all documents. The PDF directory, that guy is a super important field. The first thing I want to make sure everybody notes is that it needs to be a common field for everyone using the system. If you create this and, like mine, you run it to your local Paperless Office folder, that's not going to work for everyone else that's connecting over the network. So that needs to be a location, preferably on the server, that everybody has rights to, unless it's a super secure document, and then only certain people should have rights to it. When you're creating that directory, the other thing I like to point out is, if possible, don't embed it too far down. So when Sage gets installed, see, here's all my Sage. I have lots and lots of versions because I'm a glutton for punishment. If I have embedded all of my Paperless Office documents in this version 2016, and then I upgrade to 2019, all of my links in that 2019 version are pointing back to this folder, and it can get really confusing as to why am I still having to keep this version 2016 folder active when I'm over here in 2019. So what I recommend as best practice is to create a paperless office folder that is like right underneath this Sage folder, or at least one level above your final version, because like you can see here, under that version I go right to my Mass 90. So you want to be at least above any version specific folder. All right, or as I've done, not best practice, a local to the C drive paperless office folder. Yes, do as I say, not as I do. Okay, so some additional options here. You've got auto create of the PDF. If you're gonna have paperless office turned on for any of your reports and registers, I recommend just setting this to yes. People get used to just clicking print and having it automatically generate the PDF. If they get hit with a prompt, do you wish to PDF this? There's a chance they could say no. And another thing with Sage is that it's kind of pop-up intensive and people get tired of clicking things and they might not read it. So if you're gonna use it, I say turn it on. Let's go auto create. Password protect is an option. Anything that's more sensitive, you should password protect with yes. You could choose to prompt, but that just takes us back to pop-up hell. So you might just go yes or no. I'm gonna stick this with no. If I say yes, it then has a password that I confirm. Sweet. I'm gonna set it to no, or I will set it to a password that I don't remember, and then I will be in a loop and I can't get out. This prompt for associated PDF during during journal register printing, that guy is nice because if you have a PDF that's already been created, so maybe you have a PDF copy of your invoices that you're, like this is a purchase order register and you've got a PDF of the purchase order that you sent to the vendor, you can attach it to the register when it's updating. So then you end up with one PDF that would contain the register and any backup data that you wanted to include. So if you have something like that, you can check the box, prompt for the associated PDF. And then it's just asking, are you gonna want to delete that if you actually delete the register through the viewer, and then where it should find or store those associated PDFs. I'm gonna turn that off or we'll get more prompts than I want. So that's how you would set up all the paperless office settings for the journal and the register maintenance. The period end report, it pretty much looks like, I'll pull all three of these because they look the same for the majority. You'll see a common theme that you have the ability to set everything for any company, any module, and then any document, which in this case would be a report or a period end report. And then you just set the same or a different PDF directory, and you have all those same options. Like other places in Sage, it's important to know the difference between the magnifying glass and the flashlight. In this instance, the magnifying glass is going to just show you all the companies that exist for you. The flashlight will show you anything that you've already established. And there's a little bit of hierarchy here that kicks in. All companies, all modules is kind of like your first level. If there's nothing else, it's going to use that. If you have a specific company and then a specific module, it's going to use those before it comes back and uses the all companies, all modules. Okay, so that's reports and period ends. Those guys are the same. The form maintenance, so when we say forms, that's your invoices, your orders, your AP checks, your remittance advices, your direct deposit stubs, and any others I forgot to mention. The I just have an all here, but you have the same flexibility here. But the new big shiny fun thing is that we have an electronic delivery. It's so exciting, I can't even say it. You have the little checkbox, enable electronic delivery, and you will load in your from email address. So notice that you're able to set a from email address that is different for your purchase orders than it is for your invoices, than it is for your direct deposit stubs. So you have the ability to use whatever from email address you want. The PDF file name, full description is going to be the customer number, the document number, the date it was created, and then a sequence number. So if you print it more than once, it'd be 001, 002. I guess you can print it up to 999 times, which that would be fun. Or you can just do the document number if you don't want all the rest of it. The PDF storage is all the same that we've seen before, but then you have to load a password for a form. You'll put in an override password and confirm it. And then if you have checked Enable Electronic Delivery, you have some additional options. So like this is the accounts payable checks and electronic payment remittance. Do you want to deliver that during check register? If you say yes, it's gonna deliver during check register update. If you say no, you would have to go back into the vendor viewer and initiate the email from there, which you totally can do. And then if you're using watermarking, you'd wanna put in whatever your watermark's gonna be. And then for payroll, get some extra fun options. So again, you can deliver during check register update, or you can go and deliver from employee viewer, or the employee can get it themselves through employee self-service. And then if the employee doesn't have an email address, do you want to just go ahead and print the stub so that they get something? And for the password, you have the opportunity to use either their social security number or a random password that Sage will generate, or you can just leave it blank, which we do not recommend. If you use, sorry, require coffee. There we go. If you select random, and well, if this were actually a payroll document, this generate passwords button comes alive, and you can click that and it will email all of your employees their random password so that they can open their direct deposit step. And you also have the watermarking. So with all of that set up, you've now told Sage, I maybe want to PDF and electronically deliver forms, reports, journals, and registers. But there's still some additional setup that has to happen. If we take a look at a customer, and this is the same on customers, vendors, and employees, you'll notice that they have a little paperless button here. So in order for that customer to actually receive paperless documents, you would have to click the button, indicate which document we're talking about here. So if it's a sales order, do you want it printed to PDF? Do we want it emailed? If we want to email it, we check the little box and now we click on the email tab and there's more options. We can use the email address and data entry. That's the email that's just on the header tab of sales order entry, in this case, because I'm on sales order. Or we can use the customer email address. That was the email that we saw right here, an email address. Or we can reference any of the customer's already loaded contact codes. Let's just email it to all kinds of people. You have the option to make them a copy or a blind copy. And then you can also just type in some random email. I should put Michelle's in here. Spam Michelle. And so a lot of times I'll have people that want, their salesperson wants a copy of all the orders that are going to the customers. So this is a place where you can load the salesperson and they will get a copy. Once you've clicked accept there and accept again on the customer, now that will try and email an order for that customer with one more setup step. See, there's always a more setup. In Library Master, the main folder and then company maintenance, you have to tell Sage what email server to use. So we're in company code ABC and I'm just going to click on the email tab. This is our SMTP server information. Yours will be different. You can use some of the common providers like Gmail or Office 365. You will, I'll warn you, you have to set Gmail to allow a less secure connection in order to work. And then also you can run into them thinking that you're trying to spam people. If you send like 7,000 invoices at once, Gmail tends to be like, oh no, you're spamming, and so they'll stop you. So those are just some limitations to be aware of. But once that information is loaded, if we go to sales order It's coming. There we go. And I'm just going to use a sales order that I already have here. And I did already set up this paperless stuff for this guy as well. I think this one does email Michelle. Notice that we now have this paperless office output and a bunch of options in here. We can still just plain print. We can electronically deliver. We can print and electronically. This is fun. Okay. Print or electronically deliver. Just print all or just PDF all. I'm really enjoying that. I have system gremlins. If I select electronically deliver only, my paperless button comes up, and it's going to let me confirm my options, that this is the from email address I want to use. If I wanted to add a little bit of extra information, I could. And I'm just going to click print. So something I want to point out is whenever you have activated Paperless Office and all your setups are complete, you want everybody trained to click print. If you click preview, it bypasses all of that Paperless Office setting and it just previews for you. So then some people wonder why their PDFs aren't created or their emails are never sent. It's because preview was clicked and not print. So if you learn nothing else, click print. So it emailed Michelle. And so it's just telling me that, nice, I'm just like, sweet, I ordered some stuff. So it's just saying it attempted 2 emails, it sent 2 emails, and it is happy. So that's great. Now you're probably wondering, what did that look like? It sends, it sends the copy, a PDF copy of your invoice form. But what I want to show you is that you have the ability to control what the messaging is. Use my little flashlight. Huzzah. And my sales order guy is here. So this is its default setup. Attached is the document, so that would be the order number for, or I'm sorry, actually we just say order, for the bill to name dated on this date. And then you have control over what it says down here. So say I want to add the ship date. These little merge fields you can add. These are some pre-selected fields from the sales order header table that you can add to this message. So I can click ship date and click my little copy and then just paste it into the body of my email. I can also insert a link, a picture, all kinds of formatting so it doesn't look quite so shady when it arrives for your customer. So I can save that.
While you're in here, I just want to point out, if you put in one of those merge fields and that field doesn't exist inside of your order, it actually prints the merge field. So just something to be aware of. So if you pull up the email that you just sent out, and I only know this because I just saw it, learn something new every day, on the email itself, it says it's sent to or referencing customer PO number, and then it actually has in the brackets customer PO number.
It literally says that.
Yeah, and then I went back in and checked the order and there's no customer PO number. So just as you're using those merge fields, just be aware that that is kind of a limitation, that if the field is blank, it will actually print like what's there, and sometimes that can look kind of spammy. So proceed with caution. That's all I wanted to add.
That's an excellent point. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah. So if it's in the electronic delivery message, then it should be something that you always fill in, or prepare to have the customer ridicule you. Okay. So at that point, we have emailed our form. We have supposedly sent it to the customer, but they always call and say, I did not receive that form. So where do we go to see what has been PDF'd? And if we need to resend it, how do we do that? So one of the places we can get that is customer maintenance. If I pull up, that's not the first customer. The customer that we just emailed that form for, and go to sales orders. here's my sales order, and I have my little paperless button still. I can click that, and it's going to show me that I've tested extensively with this form today, that I'm if I wasn't marked as spam before, I definitely am now. But it's just telling me these are the PDFs that were created and that only these 2 were sent. So if I had intended to send all 4 copies to this customer, I can go ahead and highlight the line. I've got a tiny little envelope over here, and I can just send it straight through here. You're seeing that it does pull all of the customer setups. So it already went and got their contacts and then the copy that I said I wanted to include. I can do a different from email address and just send it right through here. I can also just take a look at it, like I double clicked right there. And so here is our actual form with no purchase order number, as Michelle pointed out. So we can view the PDF through there. If you want to attach it some other way to an email, you can do so. So that is one way on the sales order tab. And that's just because this was a sales order I printed. If it had been an invoice, that it also has a paperless viewer button. Customers or vendors will have it on the purchase order tab. The other way to see what has been PDF'd is in Paperless Office, and your main folder. All of these viewer tasks are going to offer you a view of what's been PDF'd. So let me go to sales order, and I could enter a more specific date range and click refresh. I only have these 4 that I've obsessively been testing with, so they just filled in. But you have all the same options. I can deliver it through here. I can actually delete it. So for some reason that was not anything I meant to PDF, I can remove it through here. Okay, so let's talk about reports and journals. Okay, excuse me, I don't talk this much. For good reason, as everybody is figuring out. So if I have a report that I want to send a PDF, Paperless Office is an option for a printer. And I can select Paperless Office printer, I can click print, and it's going to bring me some now familiar options. The just store PDF means just create the PDF and leave it alone. I can also email, and then I have all the same options that we've seen before. If I proceed here, it's going to go ahead and create that PDF. I didn't email it, I just created PDF. So once it's done, it's going to disappear. But if I ever wanted to go back and say, what was my inventory item listing as of that day, I can go to the report viewer, and I could filter down. You're seeing it's extensive, all the modules and all the reports, but luckily I just have a couple. Here's my one that I just now created. It tells me it exists. I can double click on it and it will give me my report. Super useful for bank rec. If you're trying to print that thing, and as you know, once you clear your transactions, they're gone. You can, if you get in the habit of printing that report to PDF and to the Paperless Office, then it's always there for you to reference, even after those transactions are gone.
Oh my gosh, not relevant at all, but super exciting. I just want to throw in there that there is actually an enhancement for bank rec history with an undo button. Never get the opportunity to talk about that, but that's there. That's a webinar for another day, Tiffany. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay,
And Kate, we did have a question come in. If you uncheck the store button, will it save in the customer maintenance screen?
So the store button was on report printing. Let me make sure I'm understanding that. So I don't think a report's going to be attached to a specific customer unless you ran it for, Michelle, you have any idea? Because we're talking about the store PDF.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we're talking about just also when we're printing that order, if we just said PDF only and did nothing else, then yeah, it would be under the customer record. I feel like I'm answering that right.
I would agree with you, yes.
All right. Tammy, hopefully that answers your question. If not, just reach out to me afterwards and we can get some additional clarification for you.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks,
Sweet.
Kate.
And the last little guy here is around posting. This is where the clicking print and not preview is of the ultimate importance. So I have just a pending inventory transaction register in here. Notice if I click preview, it's going to show it to me, or it's going to lie to me. Oh, there we go. But it did not create that PDF. Even if I click my export and I send it to a PDF from here, it's going to create the PDF, but not actually link it to anything that I can find later. It's really important that we click print. It's going to ignore whatever printer you have here, so don't worry if you didn't change it. But see, it automatically created that PDF, and it's got its long description name, and that's where it stored itself in that folder structure that we talked about first. So that's that would be for registers and updates. Just clicking print is super important, and that's the. If you learn nothing else, just click print. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Tiffany, Julie, Michelle?
Nope, it doesn't look like there's anything else. If anybody does have any questions, feel free to type them in the Q&A or chat buttons.
Hey, Kate, did I miss it? Did you talk about the update from preview as part of role maintenance?
No, but
Okay.
that's a really good thing to bring up here. So if it becomes a problem that people are clicking preview and then they close it or they export it through there and it's not really linked to anything, you can restrict people from updating from preview. And it's here in Role Maintenance in Library Master on the Security Events tab, and it's module specific, so if it only matters for certain modules. The Allow Updating of Journals from Preview. If you uncheck that, they'll still be able to preview and check their work, but they'll never get that second prompt, do you wish to update the invoice register or the item transaction register? It just goes back to the main menu and ignores them. So they would actually have to click print in order to make any progress. So that's a really good point, Michelle.
Yeah, we get a lot of people that that use this for audit trail purposes, right? Because everybody wants to know who did what and when the register was dated versus when it was actually updated, all that kind of stuff. And truly, like from an internal auditing standpoint, but also from an external auditing standpoint, it really truly does make everybody's life a lot easier if you are consistent with that, keeping everything printing to Paperless Office. Even in our troubleshooting, Kate, don't you find that you're referencing back to Paperless Office a lot? And when somebody doesn't have it enabled, you're like, no.
Cry a little and then keep going. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys, we got some questions come in here. The first one from Sherry is, are the Paperless Office documents only saved to a folder within Sage 100, or can you save it to another server and folder?
You can save it wherever you want, with the caveat that it needs to be a common path that everyone has access to. But it could be on a different server, and you can set different paths for different reports or forms or journals. So you have a lot of control there. I see some clients run into issues when they don't have access to the path, especially for payroll related reports. And what's annoying is it doesn't, if you've entered the path and then you're processing your payroll, it doesn't actually tell you, hey, I don't have access here. It just doesn't create the PDF. But to answer the question, yeah, you can put it anywhere you want.
Okay. 2 more quick questions here. From Gary, can you add a custom form for invoices, i.e. a form that has logos or other information?
You still have control over the actual form itself. So if you're in sales order and you're looking at your form, that is still your custom form. Add logos, add links, do whatever you need to do. The form that is actually the email, the body of the email is limited by whatever they've given. And this is the standard form. So, pretend that's pretty. So you can control whatever this looks like, but the actual body of the email is a little bit limited to just those merge fields that we have access to. And you can
Kate,
add
what version are you using?
2019.
2020 has full HTML processing. So you can add logos, you can change the font, you can change the size, you can add all sorts of stuff. Yeah, so version 2020, going forward from version 2020, you can really jazz up that. Oh, there you go. See, it's all there in the bottom. Yeah. So you can add a logo there.
So 2019 has it.
So perfect. Yep.
Yay, thanks, Michelle. Yeah, had lots of clients be very concerned that the plain text email looks really fishy.
Like it's from the Prince of Nigeria and he just needs $1,000 to transfer you $1 million. That
totally.
poor Prince of Nigeria.
That poor prince.
Awesome. Okay, thanks for answering that, guys. Gary, if you do have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and we can provide any further clarification for you. And the last one, actually looks like from Dorothy. I just wanted to say that I learned something with each of these sessions. Thank you for doing them. Of course, thank you so much. So that kind of ties us into the last little segue here. Once Kate is finished, I'll share my screen real quick. So our upcoming webinars, we have our Spring Tech Connect. Typically these are in person, but we are doing them remote right now. So this is going to be an extended webinar. It's 2 hours long on Tuesday 19th, starting at 2 p.m. Of topics such as new features and functionality available in Sage 100 2020, as well as Sage Alerts and Workflow version 10, some information on hosting, as well as sales tax. Then we will also be having ACH and EFT, an overview of all of your options on Tuesday, June 2nd, back at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, followed by simplifying your bank reconciliation process on Tuesday, June 9th. And finally, another Ask the Expert, this time focused on closings on Tuesday, June 16th. You can send us all of your questions that you have regarding closings. Always feel free to reach out to your CSM here at Eide Bailly if you do have any questions. So that would be myself, Julie Allen, or Lawrence Parsons. We also have a marketing email, sagemarketing@eidebailly.com, if you want to be added to our registration email list so you can get notifications of our upcoming webinars and any other updates that we do send out. So thank you again so much for joining us today. We do appreciate it. We will be sending out a link to this recording again after it has downloaded, so expect that later today or early tomorrow. And thank you again, and hope everybody has a wonderful day.